What is going on, guys? I just bought me a new truck. You guys remember a video that I did where I got the dump trailer all good to go? I've been making some trips to the dump in my dad's truck, which is way up there. It's a little 1500 Silverado with street tires. So that back there is my new truck. So check it out. Got a Sierra 2500 HD with the Duramax diesel in it. And this sucker right here will pull that dump trailer like it's not even back behind it. I'm super excited about it. When I bought it from the dealer, the amp power steps that are on there, they're aftermarket steps, were not working. So what I'm going to do today, the ODB controller that plugs right in here is been on back order for a long time. I was actually able to score one of those, but it won't be here for about another week. So I'm going to rig up a relay system where I can have me a switch. This switch was already on the truck. It was actually a different style of switch, but this switch here controls these bumper lights that they've got right here. And it actually was cut. So I went ahead and got that wired up. What I'm going to do is put me another switch right here. I have a two-way switch right here that I ordered off of Amazon. And I'm going to put me a little LED light to indicate when it's in the position where these are out all the time. So what I'm going to do, position 1 is going to be to disable the steps. If it's on the middle or 0 there, off I should say, it's going to function like normal. And if I push this, then they're going to be out until I push it back. So I got me a little double pole, double throw relay here that runs off a 12 volt coil there. And here's one of those switches right here that I pulled out. And then I got me a little diode kit. What the diode's going to allow me to do, in order for this to work the way that I want it to, I'm going to have one additional relay that's on here, and I'm going to connect the coil on this to the switch, and then I'm going to take and put that ODB controller up here on the top. Actually, let me see. Yeah, the ODB controller will go on the top, and then the ones that are down here on the bottom will go out to the controller that is underneath the hood for the amp steps, and then these two will be grounded right here. It's okay if they're both grounded because they're going to be disconnected from the ODB controller as soon as you energize this, and they're going to connect it to a ground. Now, that ground will make it to where they go out all of the time, but I want the ability to make it to where when I completely deactivate it, this does not have a ground on it. So that's where the other relay is going to come into play. I've actually got plenty of those. It's just a standard like automotive Bosch style relay. So if this is energized and that other one's energized, this will have a ground on it, which will make these terminals grounded out, which is what those steps need in order to go out. So I'll run you through the process of that as I'm installing it. And then I'm going to have this red LED light that I mount right next to it on the dash, where if it is in the out position, this LED light will glow to kind of let me know, hey, dummy, don't drive off. You've got the power steps down. Why do you need the power steps to be down? Well, if you're washing the vehicle or something like that, you're going to want them to be down and stay down while you're washing the truck, or if you're working on them, whatever the case may be. It's not something that you would leave overnight. So let me grab my tools that I know I'm going to need, and I'll show you the process of how I wire all that up, and then we'll see how it works when I'm done. All right, so I'm back and I've got me a little Torx bit. So I'm going to pull this cover off right here. There's 2 screws that are right up underneath here. Now that I've got that out, this just kind of pops right out. Just like that. And then I'm going to disconnect it from the switch that's here. Now this hole was one that was already put in. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm even doing. Probably not. There we go. So this hole was already drilled in this, and they didn't do a very good job of it. But it works okay. So I can't really put a switch where that is, so I may end up just having to put it over on this side. Perfect. All right, so I got a 1/4 inch drill bit, and that's going to be just about the right size. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what that looks like right there. All right, so what's next, you might ask? Well, let's go ahead and pull this panel right here off. So this thing pretty much just pops out and pulls out. Set that on the ground, and then as I mentioned earlier, the 2 wires that make those power steps work were just laid up underneath the carpet there. I'm going to need those to go up in here somewhere where I'm going to mount my relay system, and then I've got to have a connection that goes into there. I don't think there's going to be enough room back there. I don't know what fell off. Probably a fuse or something. Yeah, probably just one of the spare fuses. I don't see it though. I heard something that fell. You see it, let me know in the comments. It don't matter though. There it is. That's what I figured it was, fuse. I've already got power. This is a constant hot power. Right here, one of these is, let me see which one it would be. I don't know which one it is. I'll test it in a minute, but I've already got power to one of these. So I'm going to use that to power my switch, which will then go to all the relays and everything. And ultimately what happens is we send a ground down each of these wires. One is driver's side, one is passenger side. We don't need 30 amp relays for what we're doing, but that's what I got and what I was able to find for 12 volts. So that's what we're going to roll with. All right, I got my crimpers, got my wire strippers, and I got some cutters that are right here. So I need a purple and a black. That's what's going to go to the ODB controller. What I'm going to do to make one purple and black is I'm just going to run a black stripe down it. Just like that, and I'll run it down it on. Let's see, let's just do it like that. All right, hopefully that'll be good enough to differentiate it. Really won't matter. Worst thing that would happen is you open the driver's door and the passenger side opens. Next, we need the inputs to it. Let's use blue to do the input. That way we can do blue and then blue with a black stripe. Another blue. We'll put us a black mark on one of these too. Yeah, they don't need to be that long, but I'd rather them be too long and cut them than not long enough and have to extend them. All right, so the way that this is going to work, this relay, I think I'm just going to tape it to the side, just like that, and that way they can all kind of function together. So the way this one works is this is my coil on that. Got black and white. And then this one, when we energize it, we're going to have it push this blue one up to this yellow one. So what we need to do there is have this yellow hooked to these two terminals right here. But then we also need to energize this to make it to where it's going to work. So when we energize this, this needs to also be energized, but we're going to have to separate that with a diode because we don't want, when this is energized, to energize this. So the way that that diode is going to work is it's going to allow the voltage to go from our trigger that triggers this relay and this relay at the same time. But if we trigger this relay, it won't trigger this relay. If we were to just direct connect our trigger wire to it, then both of them are going to be activated at the same time, regardless if we triggered this or if we triggered this. So in order to do that, we use the diode. And what the diode does is the diode only allows electricity to flow one direction. It won't go back the other direction. So I'm going to have to look up, because I don't remember which way the voltage will go on this. So that'll be very easy to figure out. I'll just use a drill battery right here, and then we'll grab our meter and we'll put it on voltage DC. So this has a negative and a positive. If I look at that, it should be about 18 volts. It's 20.37 volts. So if I take that diode, which is right here, and if I connect that negative, well, we're going to switch the positive, so we're going to have to do it this way. So if I go this way, I do not get any volts, and if I go this way, I do. So current can flow through with the gray, the little silver. If you look at a diode, has a little silver right there. It can flow, positive can flow that way through it. So this will need to go on this side. And when I energize this and this, like, I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here, but if I energize this relay and this relay with, let's say, this leg right here, if I put this diode through it, if I energize it, actually would need to go this way. So I can hook that to that, and then that to that, and then put another terminal on that. If I put positive to that, it will not go through this relay and energize this. But if I put positive to this, it will go through the relay and energize both of them. So I'm going to figure out the best way to do that and still be able to connect a wire into that. In fact, it may be easier if I just don't use this connector. Put a little bit of CA glue right there on it. And then we'll use our activator. We'll spray that relay with it. We'll put that just like that. Perfect. One thing you got to be kind of careful of with the diode is when you're soldering them, you can't get them too hot, because if you do, you're going to end up messing with that gate that's in there, and they'll pass current both ways. So we'll be mindful of that when we're soldering onto these terminals here. I don't know why my camera is being such a pain, but I've got this completed. So to kind of go over what's going on here, my purple wires are going to go to the onboard diagnostics controller piece, which I do not have yet. And then the blue wires are going to go to the actual power steps themselves. This little red and black wire is going to go to the LED. The yellow wire is going to go to the switch to trigger this, and then I have the diode right here that is also going to trigger this one. So if I put 12 volts on this, this and this will both energize. And then I've got my ground right here, which goes down to the bottom pin here, and it also runs over and goes to this right here. And then when this relay right here is energized, it's going to take the ground, put it to the green wire, and it's going to go across these terminals, and it's going to send ground down these blue wires, both of them. If this red wire right here is energized, it's going to energize just this relay, because this diode is going to keep it from going back to here. So when it energizes just this relay, it's going to take these purple wires and disconnect them. Well, it's going to take the blue wires right here and disconnect them from the top, but connect them to the bottom. And since the bottom, this relay is not energized, it's just going to be basically null. There's nothing that's there. So I have the ability with this little relay set up and one diode to use the yellow wire to take and make the steps go down by pushing the switch and stay down. And I have the ability to use the red wire to disable the steps to where they don't work at all, regardless of what the controller is sending out to them. So they do make a switch. I know Amp has a switch, but it's like $150, I think. So this is actually in some ways doing exactly the same thing as that $150 switch for probably, I don't know, $30 or so. So now I just need to take and get it all wired into the truck, and we'll go from there. Yeah, it went got dark on me, so I had to pull the truck inside. So I'm just going to tape this up real good where all the connectors are not exposed. I'll post a wiring diagram in the link that you guys can click on if you want to see kind of how I did this. Like I say, I'm not really doing this because I don't have the onboard module. I'm doing it because I like the functionality of what that amp bypass switch does, but I didn't want to spend $150 on it. So since I use relays for many, many years doing a lot of car audio and car security systems, I figured this would be a fun project. And it would also save me $120 or so. So I've got that taped up real good. I think I'm just going to wire tie it up there in the corner, and yeah, we'll be good to go. So I'm going to get some better light because it's a little dim in here, and I'll be back in just a moment. So earlier I mounted the LED, got it right down here, and I mounted the switch. That switch is going to switch a negative, or I'm sorry, the switch is going to switch positive. Now I've already got positive right here, so what I'm going to do is just tap off of this positive, and I'll be able to run it up to the switch. Then I'm going to take this relay set up, and I thought it was going to be a little bigger than what it is, so I think I can probably just wire tie it right in here, and that will be fine. I'll probably take the wires and point them the other direction. I can come up here like this, kind of get them in there. I think I can set it right there and not have to worry at all about anything. In fact, it's good and tight, just kind of wedged right there. So this wire here is going to go, we'll get these figured out where they need to go. This one's going to go to the LED. The red and the yellow are going to go to my switch. pull them up there. The blue is going to go to the purple wires that go to the controller, and then these purple wires are going to go to this onboard system as soon as I get it. So we're just going to move these purple wires over to the side, and then the blue wires and this black wire, they're going to need to come and run over to this kick panel here. So what I'm going to do, let me find that roll of tape. It's right here. Since these are all going to run together for a little while, I'm just going to put a couple of wraps of tape on them to kind of keep them together. Just like that. And then move that seat back some. Give me a little more working room. I'll go up and over that. And then go up and over that. We'll go up and over that. And then we can disconnect it. Oops, sorry. We can disconnect this tape. Actually, we'll just pull the black wire through it. That should work good there, and then we'll just connect those together. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that right now. I'll go get some crimpers. So we'll take and we'll just cut these right here. Not sure if you guys can see me. And then we'll just cut these right here. We'll leave us enough room. And then we'll strip them. And strip them. And now we're going to connect the other two together. All right, so those are connected together. I'm not too worried about heat shrinking them. They're inside of the vehicle. If they're getting wet, we got bigger problems to worry about. Plus, they're not hot. All they do is simply ground out. So the next thing I need to do here is I need to pull a hot line that goes to that switch. So I need to make it, really should make it red, but I already got a red. So let me go find a color that I haven't used. All right, orange is the winner. Another thing I'm going to do too is this came with these connectors, and they're real nice. So I'm going to use them. These go on the switch. So I'm just going to grab one of each one, which is kind of cool because I've got red and a yellow, and then we're going to connect an orange to it. That orange is going to be connecting to one of these that has got 12 volts on it, and I don't remember which one it is. So let's see. This is an old trick that I learned back in the car stereo days, that if you use your hand and touch a ground, something that's bare metal, and stick your tongue on it, you can tell if it's hot. It's about like a 9-volt battery. So I can tell that this one right here is the one that's got power on it. So I'm just gonna disconnect this connector and we'll put another one on it. All right, that will work. And now we're gonna take this yellow and we'll fish it back over there. But before I do, I'm just gonna cover it with a little tape so I don't short it out. Right there, I'm not gonna make mine as tight. The LED ones I'm gonna go a little longer with. And then these, I'm just gonna go about right here. All right, we're pretty much ready to test. At this point, I need to take this black wire. I'm not sure if you guys can see the black wire that I've got right here. I need to put a little terminal on it and put it right in there, which is going to be fun because it's tucked in there a good bit, but I don't feel like drilling any more screws. I mean, I could just put one right there. In fact, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Around that, we'll put the screw. That should be good. There's hardly any current going through this, so I'm not real worried about, you know, scratching it off to where it makes a good ground or any of that. So the next thing I really need to worry about is how am I going to connect this LED. Really, I think I'm just going to strip it, twist it, and tape it. And now we need to figure out on the switch what does what. So I think, you know what, I'm going to grab a meter real quick. We're going to test out one of these switches. We'll see what the connectors on here do, because they have a positive and negative, and then I don't know what the other one is. Yeah, I don't even know if you can see it. We'll put it on continuity. So right now it's in the off position, or the center position. So I think if we go like that, yep, so they're opposite. They're opposite of the direction, with the center being common. So that center is going to be hot, and then it doesn't really matter, 1 or 2, forward, backwards. I'll figure out the way that I want it to be. Probably trying to think here. It's not like I'm going to use either one that often, but until I get that switch or that control piece back, I will. So if I take and put the black in the center, this is just to test it. Put one right here, one right here. That should work for me. Let me grab a fuse and go put a fuse in the fuse holder underneath the hood. So what should happen, I got the fuse in. That would be bypass, and this would be make them come down. and my red light's on. So that works just perfect. Red light's on, they're down. If I turn that off, they're going to go up, and then that would be bypassed. And then that would allow it to function. So what should happen, if I have it in bypass mode, and I were to ground these, let me just cut these off. So if I ground this, let me find something metal here. Why does that not work? Oh, I'm using the wrong switch. Yeah, so if it's off, and I ground that purple, they go down, and if I lift the purple, they go up. If I put this switch in bypass mode, which I think, yeah, bypass mode was number 2. If I ground it, it doesn't work. The minute I take it off of bypass, it works like it should. Or I can just turn that on and they go down. This works perfect. Awesome. So now I just need to basically connect this into here. Nice. And then these purple wires that you see right here, as soon as I get the controller, I'll be able to connect into those. So for right now, I'm just gonna take and twist them up, wire tie them up, clean up my mess, and then call it a night, because it's probably about 9 o'clock. Well guys, as you can see, the step is down, and FedEx just delivered the little controller that plugs into the ODB port. I wired it up and it works like it's supposed to. And then if I take on that bypass switch that I built, if I put it into the forward position right there, well, you probably can't see it. Forward position, it doesn't work anymore with the doors. And then if I go to the all the way down position, the light comes on and both of the steps come out, and they stay out regardless if the door's closed. So if I need to wash it, which obviously I do, they've been up for a while, so they need a little bit of some TLC, but both steps work. They both come down. They also work with the back doors. So if I put it in the center position, which is default, when I shut the door, they go up. If I open the back door, they go down. That's awesome right there, that those steps are now working like they're supposed to. And my little module that I built with the relays is working perfectly to be able to bypass them and to be able to put them down so that I can wash the vehicle.